Welcome to Minority Report, and I'm your host, Lachelle Smith. Minority Report is a video blog on YouTube celebrating Black-owned businesses, and on this episode of Minority Report, I have with me Harrisburg's own real estate developer, mover and shaker, Tarik Casteel. He's the owner and founder of TLC Construction and Renovations. And I mean, he's just been doing some phenomenal things. And I think right now, with the current climate and what's going on in our culture and in cities across the country, I think it's very important that we have a discussion about ways to create generational wealth through real estate investment. And I'm telling you, this is the guy that you are all going to want to hear from, whether you're just starting out in real estate, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a contractor, if you're trying to get like government grants or city contracts, if you're in commercial real estate or residential real estate. Tarik is the guy that you are going to want to talk to. I'm so happy that you are on my platform. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you.
This has been years in the making. Y'all have no idea. I've been trying to get him on this show forever, and he always was telling me he wasn't ready.
Yeah, well, I wasn't ready because I didn't feel I was where I wanted to be to even talk about my story until I felt I was a little more successful.
Now see, so many people say that they wait until success, but what is really truly the definition of success? Is it a monetary dollar amount or value, or is it certain accomplishments? Is it certain certifications? Like what determines success?
I mean, success is what you make of it, what you consider your success. I mean, for me, it was my accomplishments. I didn't feel I accomplished enough, to say that I was successful. So that's what.
Well, so whether you believe you're successful or not, I think you are definitely an asset and a value to our community, and people need to hear your story. So since we're talking about your story, just tell my listeners and my followers exactly how it is that you got into constructions and renovation.
Well, I learned construction renovation in Votech in high school. I took it up through 9th grade to 11th grade. My 12th grade year, I decided to transfer schools because I was bored with the Votech, and because I already pretty much knew it. Because my family was all carpenters, tradesmen. So when I was in school taking it up, I got bored with it because they wasn't teaching me no more, because I already knew more than what they was teaching me. So I decided to transfer schools. But then after I left high school, I went on to college. Took up some architectural engineer classes at Cheney University. From then, got myself in trouble. Was incarcerated. Actually 3 separate stints, and I was selling drugs and things like that, and got caught up in the game. Was in a little cycle, couldn't get out of it, and then the 3rd trip, I decided to change my life and to use the tools that I knew I had, and started my own business. So I started planning before I was released. I was doing 4 years for drug conviction. So I decided what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. So I planned that out the last trip, how I wanted to do it, and it was released in 2007. When I came home, I was working with another company, another contractor, and I was trying to help him and giving him some ideas, but he wasn't,
wasn't open to it.
Wasn't open to it. So after the first year, me working with him, and I decided I needed to branch out and start my own company, and so I started my own company. I used the proceeds from when I came home from drug conviction from my 4 years, and you
was in college. That's what it was.
So I basically used my proceeds and money that I made doing contracting and street money, and started my own business. And that was in 2009, but I started really in 2008, but in 2009
that's when it kind of like took off.
It started taking off a little bit. So I was subcontracting with larger prime and general contractors, and then 2012, 2013, a larger company, they were doing a hospital, Pinnacle Health hospital over across the river. I was on a mentor protege program because they wanted to mentor a minority prime contractor, because it was a big thing where they kept saying no one was experienced. I had experience, and I was already working with the company as a subcontractor, so they was like, you know, they wanted to mentor me. So I, you know, even though I didn't feel I needed that much, but I did realize I did need some help in certain areas. So I took the challenge and did the mentor program, and it was like a year and a half. We was on a project from the dirt to the finished punch list. So I learned a lot. Learned going in the office. I was allowed to go into the office, bring in guys that of my own crew to help work on the project, and then I had other contracts, so I had the flexibility to go check on my other jobs
projects, yeah.
and basically learn how to run the jobs and manage my own crews, and you know, learn how to estimate commercial work, and that was a big help for me. So I did that, and from that point I had other contracts going. I was working at Penn State, Harrisburg. We were building an educational building. We built that building from the ground up. So from there we got Millersville University, was doing some dormitories there, so we worked on that. And you know, I was doing a lot of traveling, doing a lot of commercial schools, hospitals, stores, all types of work. And then I started out doing houses, but then I ended up getting into more commercial work and start building a reputation and relationships and reputation of delivering and do good work, good prices. So you know, I used that experience, and then I started. I was making all right money, but to me, it wasn't the money.
You want to be prime. You want prime money. You don't want subcontractor money.
Yeah. I always had the mindset of I don't like to be the bottom of the totem pole. So my thing was, you know, I was basically in my mind was like, well, look, I'm gonna start out with these numbers, and I'm gonna build my way into the numbers I really want. I started easing my numbers up and started, you know, commanding and trying to get more money, and we started doing that. And then I started purchasing properties on the side. From this project I make this money, this project I make money, and I started purchasing properties and started renovating them, and buying
them more into residential properties, and renovations.
Yes. So then I started a nonprofit as well. It's called TLC Work-Based Training, where it's a 501c3 where we started training ex-offenders how to do construction and carpentry. So on a lot of the contracts that I had with these larger firms, I started training my guys on their work. They knew how to do houses, but they never worked on a large commercial projects. So my thing was to get them a hands-on experience. Once I got in the door, I was trying to bring other people in the door as well. So once I started, I didn't let them know how I was going to do it, but I started training these guys on their dime on my projects. But the thing was, I know how to, you know, make money and still train other guys, so I set them up where they couldn't fail. So you know, when we were doing the framing, metal framing, I lay it out. I do all the hard work and just lay it out and have each person doing one individual thing, and they just focus on just that. You know, it was almost like running assembly lines. And you know, by me doing it that way, I was able to keep costs down for me, keep the costs down for the general contractor. We was able to make money. My guys was getting experience and training, and we were delivering. They started asking us to bring those guys, more guys, training more guys on the job, because most of them, they was training their own kids, training their people on the job. It's just, you know, they didn't expect me. They didn't expect me to do it, but the thing was, I set it up as a nonprofit, and then I was training the guys. I was paying them, but wasn't paying them as much until they got the experience. Where I
and you get to pay them out of grant money, not necessarily out of the money from your contract.
Well, in the beginning, I was using my own money, and then after a while, it is grant money for training, on the job training. So I started going after that after someone turned me on to it, but before it was using my own money. And then after I did that, someone told me to go get, you need to go get that apprenticeship for what you're doing, because the way you're teaching it is, you know, better than some of the ways schools are doing it. So I ended up going to get certified through Labor and Industry, Department of Labor and Industry in Pennsylvania, and went in front of their board, in front of your actual peer of contractors. And when I went in front of the board, is a lot of the large companies in Pennsylvania. They sit on the board and they basically judge and say if
who's worthy to be a teacher. So
the first time they denied it, but I did a good presentation. I had everything, you know, but they said, you know, I think you should come back. So they was like, we just don't normally do it on the first time around. So because I was frustrated, I wasn't even gonna come back to try to get it. But when they ran out after they denied me, I was leaving, and they came out outside and say, listen, you need to come back. It's just, you know, you did a good presentation. They denied everybody the first time. And then he said to come back. I came back 5 minutes into the presentation. They said, you don't even have to go through the whole thing. And then they gave it to me, and I have a certification for apprenticeship program. And then I was using the guys on more projects, and then I started going after land, buying up land in the community, because I wanted to develop in my own community. So what I did was use the guys that I was training, and then I was able to get apprenticeship money for my program. So they gave me my first grant was a capacity building grant. So I went after that and bought some more tools and equipment for my guys. I had won a few other contracts. I won a 5-year contract with the Harrisburg Housing Authority, and that contract was my first contract over $1 million. So it was well over $1 million. So that contract, I made enough money to purchase a block of land. Did a partnership with my aunt's nonprofit, CRAM, Christian Recovery Aftercare Ministry, where she works with ex-offenders. So her nonprofit does supportive services for ex-offenders, and mine was training for ex-offenders. Mine was for training for ex-offenders and veterans and hard-to-place individuals. It wasn't just ex-offenders. I would work with anyone, but it was, you know, the thing at that time was we was going to work with ex-offenders, because that's what I started out just saying, I'm going to work with ex-offender, because I am an ex-offender, and I wanted to give back by training more and giving them the opportunity that someone gave me the opportunity to start, and then I wanted to bring other people in. But you know, sometimes when they let one of us in, and that's it. My thing is, you let me in, I'm gonna let everybody else in.
Hold the door open.
Yeah, so that's how I started doing it that way. From once I made the money at the first contract with the Harrisburg Housing Authority, we bought a block of land, and it was the old Hamilton Health Center building. But before that, we had started a coalition of minority businesses, period. It was called the Harrisburg Regional Diversity Coalition, and then it was a lot of black businesses, and everyone had issues, and how everyone had issues in their field of business, but everyone had one thing in common. The main thing is we didn't have financial access to banks and everything, and some people were good in certain areas and then others, and you know, but everybody's issues were strength to the table. So we ended up started working together, helping one another out, and from that we started going to different areas of the state. We went to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. We found that, you know, everybody's facing the same issues, and then that's how we changed the name of that organization to the Pennsylvania Diversity Coalition. I was a founding member of that coalition, and you know, we still all work together, and we came together and we're able to, you know, leverage the relationship, our status as a group of minority, because that's the only time we gonna be able to grow if we working together. So once we start coming together, I started going after more funding, and I went after a tax credit, and then I went after another grant. It was called Impact Harrisburg. So that grant, after I bought the land, I bought a 17,000 square foot building. It was the old formerly Hamilton Health Center building. This is the building we're sitting in right now. Actually, the CEO of Hamilton Health Center is a African American female, and she was a part of the coalition too. Now, her new building, I was the contractor, minority contractor that helped build the building, but I did all the framing and drywall, insulation, acoustic ceilings in that facility. But the thing was, it was a $7 million project, but I didn't make nowhere near that kind of money. And I did all the framing and the drywall, but I didn't even get $300,000, honestly. So the end of the day, she seen how, after I had explained to her the process and what happened on the project, yeah, I made money, but it was hood money. I consider that hood money.
Right.
That's, you know,
it's pennies on a dollar.
Yeah, so they were making the big money,
yeah.
but we were making hood money. So the end of the day, she gave me the opportunity. She liked my vision. She liked my programs that I was trying to put down, and just being a part of that coalition of black professionals and black business, she was like, she was going to give me the opportunity. She sold us this facility, this little 1.68 acres of land, and I went after a tax credit. I went after the tax credit, then I went after this other grant, Impact Harrisburg. Actually, I won both of them at the, at the same time. The first thing we won $4.5 million tax credit, so we built a 20-unit affordable housing for veterans. So I did the veteran development first. It was new construction from the ground up. It's actually right next door to this building. So I leveraged that tax credit, and then I won the Impact Harrisburg grant. I won $500,000 from that because they needed a match. So my match was the $4.5 million. So I had well over the match. So they gave me $500,000. So I used the $500,000 in the old building of the Hamilton Health, which was 17,000 square foot, and we gutted this building and renovated and put minority businesses in this facility.
Right.
We have a construction company, which is my construction company. We have a law firm in the building. We have CRAM. We have a black civil engineering company, Cosmos Technology. We have actually PennDOT is renting a facility. They have the DBE supportive services for the whole state of Pennsylvania. So the DBE supportive services, no one knows, is the disadvantaged business enterprise.
Right.
So we do have that certification and supportive service in this facility. So we also have other minority businesses in this facility. Like I said, it's 17,000 square foot, and we have other space. We have a computer lab. We have a wood shop downstairs where I teach the training for the carpentry part and the theory, because we have desks inside of there, table, chairs, and then we have the equipment in there. So we have that training. We have the computer training. We have other offices that we rent out for other nonprofits and for-profit community and minority businesses. So when we won the tax credit, we built that facility for the veterans. Now, not saying that I didn't care a whole bunch about the veterans, but I started my first tax credit for the veterans because I knew no one ever done a veterans development just for veterans. And I knew if I was going to get in the game of tax credits, I had to come strong with something that no one ever done.
Absolutely.
So I started out, I wanted to do the veteran tax credit first. We won, I developed that, and then from there,
that you're able to do the veterans housing that we see on the other side of the building.
Yes, so from that point, we had a nice ribbon cutting, a nice turnout and the support from everyone, from the politicians to the community, period. The building was filled up soon it was built, so all 20 units have been filled for over a year and a half, almost 2 years now. So from that point, we had a lot of momentum, and I started buying other properties in the community, rehabbing them, buying them and holding them, and made few rooming houses for ex-offenders coming home from prison, didn't have a place to go. So what I was doing is I was fixing these houses up and training some of the other ex-offenders so they help renovate these houses, so the ones that were coming home, they were able to have a spot to be paroled to, and then if they didn't have a job, you know, I didn't hire them right away, and unless you go through my training program,
right.
And I got to know you're serious and that you're able and willing and able to work, and you know, showing me that you're interested, then I'll hire you with the for-profit. But everyone starts out going through the non-profit just to see where you at, because I can't afford to lose any money, because like I said, most of the money is being funded by myself with my for-profit business. Let guys come through, get on their feet, and you know, from there you don't have to work for me. I even show you how to start your own business and, you know, be an entrepreneur on your own, because I don't expect everybody to work for me, because at the end of the day,
right.
you know, you might have your own ideas on where you want to do things. My thing is trying to set you up and give you the tools to get started. If I could train you and show you how to, you know, do the work the way they want to see the work done on a commercial level, because most of us don't get the opportunity to work on large. So they don't get the opportunity to work on large projects. So I have, and I've done numerous of them, and so from that point, you know, I have an understanding of what they're looking for, so I try to pass the information on to other guys. So if you want to start your own business, I'll still help you to a certain extent, because you're not going to be a competitor of mine, because at the end of the day, it's enough money out here for everybody. It's not saying that I'm bigger than you are, it's just I'm just saying it's enough money for everybody. So the thing is, I'm not greedy, and you know, one thing that you know, I always learned and I always knew that, you know, the greedy man, what they say, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, and I'm just a pig. I'm not a hog. I'm trying to eat. I ain't trying to get too full and and burst. So at the end of the day, I'm good with that. So if I can,
this is crazy. This I could just shut this whole interview down and be like, that's it. Thank y'all for tuning in. But I want to unpack some of the stuff that you said. First, for anybody who's watching this and you're interested in real estate or development or construction, period, forget that. We're gonna put that to the side. Let's just talk about the politics for a minute, because if we are looking at the climate of our culture, our society right now, you would actually qualify to be president at this point, because no, seriously, if you look at the GOP and their reasoning for putting that 45 or whatever his name is in office, everything that you've accomplished are the things that they're trying to give him credit for that he hasn't even accomplished. If we're just talking about being an ex-offender, starting your own business, starting out as a subcontractor to various local primes, but then developing those relationships so that you then can become the prime on larger contracts throughout the state and everywhere else, then going on to opening up your own business, hiring guys that training them, creating a nonprofit, helping ex-offenders, then you're helping veterans, then you're creating housing. Like, you've done more than the president at this point. Like, we should just go ahead and put you on the ballot. If they looking for, no, seriously, if people are tired of the swamp and they feel like we need new people in positions of leadership, and they want a businessman, based on what you said, basically for the last 15-20 minutes, you qualify. Like, why not?
No, I'm not into politics for one. I'm into trying to, support my community, support my family. Right. We did win another tax credit. We won over $13 million. I'm getting ready to go to closing on a $13 million project. We built 50 units of affordable housing out on the hill, Allison Hill. We built a new community center. It's a 5,000 square foot community center along with the 50 units. So we actually bought 2 blocks of land in Harrisburg. So that's the next project. So we do have experience on two tax credit projects. So we were successful on both of them. One put in 2 applications, 2 applications. So that my success rate is 100% right now. But so at this point, then we want another smaller development. We're building actually a 8-unit development, small development on the other side of this 20 units for the veterans, because like I said, it was a 2-block radius of 1.68 acres, but we also have enough room to build another 16 units over here. So I actually own that whole block too. So we're gonna build 8 now and do another 6 to 8 later on. You know, but we did win funding for that project too. We won $400,000 on another grant to get started on that. So we working out some other financial issues to get some more funding to start that project. But we did get an initial $400,000 grant to start that, because a lot of people like our model, our concept. Because the one thing about when you're doing community development and development is, you know, you supposed to be developing the community as a whole, not just the housing to get the money and get going. You've got to develop the mindset of the people that's living in the community so they can take care of you of the development. And my motto is, how can you bring in these developers to develop a community if you don't have the community support, or you have community working on these projects? Because when things go wrong, you know, or things go wrong in the community, if they had hands in on this project, they're going to take care of it. They're going to value and respect your work. So
what do you do? How do you develop that community buy-in? Because I know that from other projects that, you know, that I'm very familiar with, that is hard for especially people coming in from outside. You're already here. You're Harrisburg based, went to school here, people in the community know who you are. So I'm assuming that it would be easier for you to develop that community buy-in. How do you do that?
Well, basically, like I said, you just said it, I'm from the community, and I basically went through the same things that they going through or been through, or going through or been through. Like I said, I was from the community. I was in the streets, did everything. We did the prison stints, total 7 years combined through the 3 stints that I did do. But the thing was, I had a plan when I came out. You know, things a lot of people don't do when they are in prison. They have a short-term plan to get out and do this and that. But my thing was, I had a plan, a long-term plan of what I wanted to do. So I, you know, had a plan, and I just executed it. So that's why when you say why I didn't want to do the interview, I wasn't ready, because I didn't complete everything that I said that I wanted to do before I do an interview or something. So now I did that and more, but you know, now we're going to have close to 90 properties after I start this 50 and then the other 8. So we're gonna have, I'm gonna have 90 units, plus our own community center. I bought another community center, the old community center on Allison Hill. Plus we built a new community center with the 50 units. Plus we had this hub building for minority businesses. So it's definitely way more than I ever expected. Being incarcerated 13 years ago, got out February 7th, 2007. And at this point in 2020, I'm sitting on going on 90 units.
Close to 100. The goal was 100.
Yeah, the goal was 100 units, but I'm definitely going to surpass that in the next 5 years. I'll probably have 200 in my mind. I already
mapped it out.
I already moved the stick. So my goal is to get 200 units and to have so many employees in my own community develop. Because one thing, like I said, I want to have other subcontractors in my community working and work me out of work, because I want to because I don't want to be here for long, but if I can take my show on the road anywhere, but I need to build up home first. And the thing is to leave a legacy for my kids. They always going to remember the times that I wasn't around, but this right here will be lasting for them to see that, you know, no matter what someone said that I did or I've done in my life, they'll never be able to, you know, compare what I'm doing now to
what you did
that's nothing.
But anybody could look at you, listen to your story, what you've been able to accomplish, what you've been able to do in your own community, how you've been able to help others, housing you're developing for veterans. Anybody can look at that and definitely say, yes, you are successful. Now, what's the likelihood that you will be able to package all of this knowledge that you have and put it into like some type of program that somebody could actually follow? And I'm not just talking about ex-offenders, I mean anybody, from having zero, nothing. developing up to the point where, okay, I'm confident now because I went through Tarik's training. Now I can go after contracts. Now I know how to approach primes and I can be a subcontractor. Now I'm comfortable and I can go for my apprenticeship and I can be able to teach others. Like, you think you could package that for somebody and they could just sit and glean all of your wisdom?
Well, I mean, yeah, I can do it. This is about having the timing and the time to sit down and do it all. But,
right.
you know, I'll be busy a lot. So I'll be focusing on still building my empire. So, you know, I can definitely do it. It's just basically following the blueprint. I mean, I got a long way to go. But like I said, you know, it's definitely option for me and opportunity for me to package it all and give it to other people in our community and other communities, because I'm definitely going to take my show on the road.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely. So what I do want to do is help build my community first, but I want to help build a lot of other minority communities that, and like I said, I've been through the struggle and still in the struggle. So you know, the end of the day is, you know, everyone needs to work together as far as our community, because we don't one of the only races that don't really work together like that.
Now see, now this we come on, pull it all together. When you're talking about our community and how we're not on code, period. Like we're not unified. But you've been able to build, you know, like you said, your coalition. You have, you know, your ex-offenders. You have your philanthropy with your nonprofit. When we're looking at what's going on today, when we're looking at the protests and everyone's resisting and we're saying enough is enough. Do you think that we're in a climate right now where it would be advantageous for even somebody who's not super knowledgeable to go ahead and just jump into real estate? Do you think that this is the environment right now is ripe and it's going to open up and expand more opportunities for businesses like yours and those who are just starting in real estate?
Well, right now, what's going on it's pretty tough to get into real estate at this moment, just because of the job loss and businesses is closing.
But what I'm referring to is more just getting the money to get started. Like we're seeing.
Well, right now they're giving out funding. They definitely giving out money for minorities and businesses, period. But minorities, they starting it. The first wave or two of that stimulus money, minorities didn't get nothing.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I feel the pain, and I definitely support everything that's going on that they doing, because it's overdue. You know, like I said, I've been a victim of police brutality myself. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm definitely running with my people.
Right.
No matter how successful I get, this is what it is, and I know, you know, what they going through and what I'm going through it myself. I'm still a black man in the community. Been, you know, a lot of people don't like to see my success, because they feel I'm not supposed to be here.
Supposed to be here.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, you know, I am here, and I'm definitely going to make this difference. But it's definitely hard to say real estate right now is the perfect timing, but it's the perfect timing for us to come together, because we're coming together right now for these protests.
Right.
But we need to come together for this economic impact, because you know, if we working together at this moment where this funding is coming together, and they trying to calm us down a little bit.
Right, they try to throw money at the fire.
You take that money and you start building your community for real.
Right.
So you know,
municipalities is starting. You know,
everyone. It's a lot of people releasing money from the state. You're not going to get it from the federal government right now, because of who's in power. But at the end of the day, these local and
local
state municipality, even private corporations, they delivering this money to these communities. But it's our second chance, because they did it back in the 60s and 70s. Right. It's our second chance to take this baton and run with it. Now, we had the opportunity, and we did have a lot of black businesses coming up in the 70s and early 80s, and you know, when the civil rights was going on. But you know, so what they did was, you know, try to, you know, give us opportunities and you know, give us some funding to help build our community and help, you know, stabilize our communities, but then later on down the line,
And here comes the crack epidemic. Here comes crack.
Well, they did that after they seen we were successful.
Exactly.
And after they seen the success, they like, oh, we got to break that up. So they start sabotaging and start throwing the drugs in the mix, throwing the guns in the mix, and there it was. So at the end of the day, a lot of the businesses closed down. People lost their business because they were on drugs, and crimes were being committed, and people were just went haywire. But now we were messed up for almost another 40, 50 years.
Now.
But now it's coming back around. So if the opportunity presents itself again, I think we need to take advantage of it, and everyone need to learn to work together and learn from the mistakes of the past, and not to take the dangling carrots. Take that money now, do what we need to do, but don't let them come back and disrupt what we got going on, because that's what'll happen.
You've been able to be extremely successful, and I really want people to walk away from this interview not just inspired, but I'm hoping that you were able to take notes, because you dropped so many gems on a number of things when we're talking about capital gains, and we're talking about tax credits, and we're talking about how to get these contracts. There's so much that you could take away from this interview and run with it. Really just take advantage of whatever funding that you can find, and try to follow what Tarik is doing as a model for his community, for himself, for his children, for his legacy. This is not just a one-stop situation. It's not just going to end with him. He's going to be able to multiply this. Anybody watching this is going to be able to multiply what they're doing and mirror this and be successful. and be successful. Tarik, thank you so much for being on my platform. I want you to provide all of your contact information. So if you are, a contractor and you are looking to partner with Tarik, if you got funding for Tarik, you trying to build another Amazon, Walmart, Target somewhere, please contact him ASAP. He got a whole team that's willing to work with you. If you have residential property, you need a fence, you need, drywall, you need, something done to a property that you bought and you ain't willing to give it up yet, and you want to get some renovations, Tarik, please tell people how they can get in contact with you.
I do have a website. It's tlchbg.com. So that's our website, but we also have our nonprofit tied into the for-profit's website, so you can contact me either way, whether it's through training or you're just trying to learn some construction or work in construction. You can contact me on our website. Our number is 717-565-9343.
Thank you so much for finally sitting down with me. I love the fact that you were able to tell your story and inspire so many other people. He's doing some just dope things in the community.